So I wanted to say something more about freeze mode, or, being in a state of freeze where one feels like one cannot do anything and there's such a great effort to take any action. Like I said before, it's often an indication that we need rest. And it's often an indication that we're going through a transformation. So just like how a caterpillar goes into a cocoon and it looks like nothing's happening from the outside, right? It's in this cocoon, but there's a complete transformation going on, and it comes out as this beautiful being, this butterfly. So human beings are like that too. We need to cocoon sometimes. And the trick is also knowing how to do it properly and knowing when to stop, right? So if you aren't accepting being in that cocoon and you feel bad about it and you're resisting it, it's actually going to prolong the time that you need to rest for, and it could prolong it indefinitely, because the more we resist it, that process really can't take place. So if we allow it to kind of take its course naturally, and it doesn't mean necessarily completely checking out of life. I mean, often there is a way we can just reduce. We can say, okay, I need to do X, Y, Z, but these other things I really don't have to. They can wait till later. And then with that time, when we're in the cocoon or in our resting, use that for our inner work. Use that for resolving. I won't even want to say resolving, because I don't think it's good to have that as like a goal that I need to resolve something, but allowing things to come up, emotions, memories, without judgment, allowing them to come up, allowing them to move through, and continuing on, a little bit lighter. And it can be emotionally painful to go through that, just like how that caterpillar, it like kind of melts and goes through this transformation. I'm sure it's not comfortable or fun for them. And it can feel very uncomfortable for us psychologically, but it's once you've gone through that process, you see that how it's liberating. You go through that process, you let go of those things, and then you're moving on much lighter, and as sometimes just feeling like a completely new being, a new transformed being. The other thing I wanted to talk about is how rushing the process can cause problems, or trying to rush the process, because you can't really rush it. It basically sabotages the process if you try to. So if you think about ice, like a frozen river, and so it's been cold and the river freezes in the winter. When that river thaws, it needs to thaw gradually. If it thaws really, really fast, all the area around it will be completely flooded. It could cause disasters and problems and so on if it floods too fast. If it thaws too fast, if it thaws gradually, that water is very useful for the plants and animals around to use to help them grow and survive and everything. Versus if it's just this, quick thaw and it floods and maybe kills the animals and plants, right? So the same thing with our internal freeze. We don't necessarily want it to go super fast, because that can cause collateral damage, but allow it to kind of gradually move, journal on it, watch that process, observe that process, and just know that this is a beautiful process. It's a beautiful, wonderful process. It's not something that our society values very highly, which I think is why people really struggle with it, because we're taught that we need to be productive, whatever that means. We're taught that we need to be productive, and that inner work is not real, or it's not productive, right? And there are many people who never get to that inner work because they're so focused on that being productive. And it will manifest eventually as, things like depression, anxiety disorders, cancer, other physical chronic illnesses, because the person is never taking the time that they need, their body and their minds need, for rest, for break. We were never meant to be constantly running on a hamster wheel. Having time to rest, relax, reflect, and process emotionally is fundamental, and it is a human need, just as water and sleep are. So I hope that if you are in this right now, that you will honor that part of your life and just see it for the beautiful transitional, transformational process that it is, and kind of approach it with reverence rather than resistance, and that will help you to move through it in a really graceful and wonderful way.